All right, Credit Rock Stars. It's Jared Havens, CEO of Credilife and host of the Credit Rock Stars podcast. This is episode 2. Really excited to bring it out to you guys. Once again, joining me today is David, who is a growth strategist and has been working closely with Credilife and helping us really just hone in on how we can do more for our clients. And then we have Sydney Washington, who is a brand evangelist and is actually an author of an upcoming book. So check this out and look for it. It's called One Brand. And so she's also been helping us when it comes to how we can unify our company, Credilife, our division, our messaging to just further empower our clients. So very excited to have you guys on the show. Episode 2. This is good stuff.
Yeah, excited to be here today. What are we talking about? We're talking about kind of some with having to deal with creditors or collectors and some of the stuff that goes with it, all the stuff that goes with it actually, emotional, physical, everything that happens, everything that people go through when they have to deal with a creditor or a collector.
Yeah, for me, just to let the audience know is, there's a lot of times that we talk about collections, in our previous lives, our videos, to our clients, to members. Collections is just a hot topic. But there's obviously technicalities on how to handle collections, how to do it in a way to improve your credit, how to do that. If you want to be approved for a mortgage, what steps should you be taking, when it comes to those collections. But what we're going to talk about more of, which I'm really excited about, is we're going to dig deeper. What happens to someone who has collections, who's gone through a hardship? What type of impact does a collection have? So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And
I love it, digging deeper on collections, because like you said, the technical all day long, like you were talking about earlier, if somebody actually gives in and pays something, it could actually damage them. So there's things like that which are very technical, but also digging deeper, this can affect your family, your health, your mental health, your body, your life, your entire everything that goes with it. So tell us a story of somebody who has gone through something, or anything you want to share with the viewers about a credit story that stands out to you right away.
Good question. I think, a lot of times for me, just to kind of break it down, when someone's in a situation where they have collections, there's a lot of things that happen. One, they're getting phone calls. They're getting letters. They're getting like those harassing type of attack tactics. You know what I mean? And the reason why that happens, it's their job as a collection company to pursue these debts, to collect on these debts. But for you as a human, that can be stressful. You know what I mean? And then when you get to a point that you want to be approved for something, or you're in a position where it's like, hey, you know what? I want to do better, or I'm doing better now. I want to take care of these collections. You start having this feeling of like, sometimes, one, I'm motivated, but then you also have, well, what do? I feel a little bit lost. I'm frustrated. I'm confused. So those type of things pop up all the time.
Well, it's a very emotional conversation. I think it's a very emotional experience for most people.
Yeah.
And part of that is really, we want our listeners to understand that we get it, but it's also helping you think a little bit differently and see the situation, see all the players involved differently. So you can actually take control and continue to take control and manage every aspect of that. Jared, one of the things you talked about, Sydney King, tee it up and opening up with is, sometimes when we look at creditors, we don't see them as human beings. Because they are the voice, they're the names that's attacking us, right? And so that's how we feel when things are coming at us. Like you mentioned, from phone calls, endless phone calls. It's never a good time, right? Because you don't want to deal with it. It's a potentially frustrating, embarrassing conversation. You don't know who you're going to be talking to. So, when you're with people, family and friends, out and about, you're definitely trying to avoid that. But nonetheless, it still gives you tons of anxiety and all these really difficult emotional feelings, and that, of course, it manifests into a physical expression. And and also part of the attack sometimes you feel is really at point of purchase. And sometimes those things creep up on you.
Yep.
Your credit card maxed out, or they decide to cancel your card that you didn't even know, right? You thought maybe I have a little bit more just so I can get whatever I need to get, even
or you're
at the grocery store.
Applying for something new, and they go, hold up, you have this collection outstanding.
Well, it's as a result. Sometimes it's challenging when you're at, all these retailers where they offer you InStore Savings and their InStore credit cards. And, maybe totally forgot about it because you're having a great day. And you're like, man, if I can save 25%, why wouldn't I take advantage of that? So all of a sudden they push a button and come back and go, yeah, that didn't work. And the worst part, you guys, is, and I blame retailers for this, they often, almost 99% of the time, do not train their people to handle the situation properly with grace and integrity. And so you basically bait people into a situation, and then you further shame them on the spot, right? And so I can imagine, like, when you're going through that.
That's a really good point.
What kind of emotions are going through, you guys?
Oh, I mean, it's like you're an adult, you're sitting in line, and you're like, hey, it's been a little while, maybe I should try. And then, boom, denied. And you're sitting there, that person's not trained on how to handle that, so you don't feel so, it's a negative.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, you feel vulnerable, and there could be ways to do that where you can where you don't feel that impact as much. But yeah, I agree. No one's trained on that. And so therefore it's just a bad situation for that person. And they're just trying to get out of there. They're like, okay, hurry this up so I can go now because I feel embarrassed.
Like, sorry for making you have a crummy experience. You know, it's like what the emotions we talked about, that would be that feeling of powerlessness for sure.
Yeah.
And you're embarrassed. There might be other people around you. So it's kind of the same as getting the collection phone call or whatever. Maybe they're calling your mom's house and going, yeah, so-and-so owes such and such on their
Or they're calling
debt.
your work.
Oh, yeah.
That's
that
embarrassing.
Would not
That's
be
stressful.
Good. Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's a newer position or you respect a lot of people that you work with. You don't want them to know that you've gone through some issues in your past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and
therefore
that can affect your future there of like getting overlooked for something with more responsibility where the person goes, yeah, no, Jack didn't pay his, thing on time. I'm not going to trust him with this next role that I was thinking about for him.
Yeah, too often I think that we just focus talking about the emotional impact, and then of course the physical impact. And I think that with a group of 55,000 plus people, I'm sure
someone's going through
someone's going through some difficult times. In different, and it's not so much whether they are responsible or irresponsible person. Because I think that there's always a combination of, and there's all kinds of circumstances that we simply don't know, But the thing is, we need to help people understand that there's a better way to manage all that, and also identify. Because if we don't identify it, we don't talk through that. For them, the concept of possibility, the possible. Having a different outcome in future is just really too dim.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the podcast, to be able to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's very important to bring this stuff out because most people, when they go into, my history, obviously with Credilife, most people, when they get referred over or they reach out to Credilife, they're looking at the situation and they're trying to explain it in a way that's like, well, this collection's out there and I want to be proof for this. And there's those simple statements, right? But there's so much more behind it every time, and that's what we're talking about right now is just having that understanding of we know what you're going through. One, we're not judging you. You know what I mean? We don't judge at all. We get it. And really it's just about knowing, hey, let's recognize what's happened and then figure out how can we move on from this to open up these doors for you again to move forward in your life.
Yeah, how do we get your buying power back
and
give you that feeling of empowerment once again? Because like we said, everyone can relate to this. Everyone's a human. And all we're focused on is going all out and getting your buying power back so you can feel that sense of empowerment. Instead of feeling like, we talked about people losing relationships or having strained relationships, going through depression, being on their couch, becoming
Yep.
inactive in
There's
the
so many
process
things.
of empowering
Yeah.
themselves. So it's like,
Yep.
you don't have to do that. You can just be open about it in this group and start,
Yep.
start the process.
Yeah, and maybe I should circle back because, sometimes we get going, and in my mind I lose, particular point is when we talk about the collectors,
Yeah.
right, the people behind the phone calls, the letter, and I just want to encourage our listeners to think about it this way, to understand who they are, that they're human beings. Also, they're just doing a job.
Yep.
Sometimes they sound like jerks. Sometimes they are taking tactics, approach, and tonality and attitude with you that are unprofessional or unnecessary, right? But nonetheless, they are doing a job. Now, I'm going to give you guys a hack. If you understand that's what they are, that's what they're doing, and that's their job, and you can be above it all, right? So you're not already surrendering your own personal power to a collector, to a letter, okay? You can actually handle that
Yep.
with intentionality. And that could sometimes be a huge difference, number one, for yourself.
Yep.
So you don't feel like you're helpless.
Yep.
Right? So we need to help you guys and remind you guys that it's very important for your mental health, for your physical health, for your financial health, that you need to see it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully you can engage the conversation, whether it's phone call or letter or call back, with a position of strength,
Yeah.
of integrity, of dignity, because there's no reason why any of us should be stripped away with all those things.
Yep.
Right? And so all of a sudden you approach it back, and then part of the things we're going to be talking about, Jerry and Sydney, is that we want to teach you guys, and part of the conversation is really design preemptive strike back mindset and actions, so you are actually taking control of the entire situation, not just simply paying back a debt.
Exactly. Well, that's
Right.
a part of taking back your buying power. That's what we mean by that. It's not just taking back your buying power so you can be approved for a mortgage. It's all those things along the way, those changes that you're making, that intention of going, okay, I am going to handle this, and I know I can. And yeah, maybe you reach out to Credilife for help, or you go into one of our DIY programs, or you follow the suggestions in the group. Whatever it is, it's the fact that you are the one making changes, you are the one taking back your buying power, and you are the one moving forward. Getting that feeling back is absolutely phenomenal. It's uplifting, it's empowering, completely different than what we talked about before when it comes to what you may have been feeling before, which was frustrated, helpless, vulnerable, embarrassed. All those things that happen from financial stresses. Collections create financial stresses, and once again, you have those calls, all these things that happen along the way that can really put someone down, so it's about taking back your buying power and doing it with intention.
Yeah, and I know that when all those things are building up, and all of a sudden, eventually it's going to come out physically, it's going to manifest itself.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get into more arguments, you're short-tempered, you have no patience, you're not paying attention, and then that can introduce additional challenges, and that can include loss of employment. Because you mistreat a customer, or you react back poorly with your boss or management, or you all of a sudden just going to screw it. I'm just going to run away. I'm shutting this puppy down, and I need to go, quote unquote, find myself, or I need to escape.
Yep.
But the problem is things don't disappear.
They just don't.
Right? And so here we are.
It will come back out.
So, Jerry, one of the things that I think is really important is continue to educate listeners on what do you guys, it's definitely, the process, right? Over at Credilife, how do you guys approach a client situation that you can actually have, I know you guys have a system, and what can people expect, and then almost not necessarily, doing the same thing going through you guys, but what they can and should be able to expect the industry to help them solve their problems.
Well, I think for us at Credilife, the first thing that we found is the experience that it's how we go into these calls, these consultations, these appointments with our clients. One, we understand that things happen. No judgment. That's number one. Number two, it's getting to know the client. It's not immediately going, hey, you need to repair this, you need to do that. We're going to do a couple things for you, and around this time, you're going to be fine. It's just not that simple. It really isn't. And so what we want to do is get to know our client better, so that way we understand what it is that they're truly wanting.
What situation they're in.
What's the situation? Mm-hmm. We want to know the story, basically. We really do. Because of that story, we can then go into more of a professional assessment and then figure out what are the things that need to happen to then help you. What needs to be done to open up these options for you again. That's the type of path that you want to look at is, your story, your situation. What's the assessment? What do I need to work on? What are my goals? Then what type of options are going to open up for me?
Yeah,
that's a big one.
It's a very consultational approach, and it's really about putting, kind of laying all the chips on the table.
Yep.
And so, people can actually look at the recommendation, look at the options, and assess it and match it up and say, hey, does it match my situation? Does it sound even logical, right? Because it's not just blind buy. It's not a blind purchase of a quick fix.
Yeah.
Because you guys do a lot more than that. And we know in the industry, we know people that, to really leverage credit properly, a lot of time is the build up. It's really all the activities on your credit report that help you get to that next level.
Yeah.
One thing that I know I'm kind of going off a tangent real quick, but it's really popping in my head is, recently people talking about different cards they are able to acquire.
Yep.
They're very proud of a particular type of card.
Oh, yes.
Like
or the limit.
like the Sapphire, right? What it is, you guys listening to this, why am I bringing this up right now? Is I want you to write this down and set a challenge for yourself if you don't already have that. Is to understand when you're able to attain certain type of buying power, certain kind of cards, essentially you can actually bank on almost start building free vacations for yourself if you managed right, because the points, the way they reward you. So a lot of folks actually do that intentionally, understanding how to use credit and how to leverage various instruments and cards.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're going on to a $10,000 vacation normally out of pocket, right? And then with all the perks and bonus, and they're able to experience that for $1,500, $2,000, and then really enhance that entire trip.
Yep.
Yeah, there's an entire I guess movement of people who have capitalized on this, exactly what you're talking about, and turned it into a way to manifest the lifestyle that they want. So if you're open to it and talking about your buying power and doing it from a place of empowerment, using companies like what Jared offers, there's ways to earn, to get more for yourself just by being strategic about how you approach this learning.
When I think it all comes down to that right there is a goal. That right there is a possibility.
Absolutely.
It's what do you want? Some people want that. They want to take more vacations. They want to understand how can they leverage that in a way to then obviously spend less, at least on those vacations. Yeah, you're using that, but you can do it strategically in a way that you're doing your expenses on that you're already occurring. Then you pay it off in a certain date in a certain way. You're building up your points. All those things open up. Same thing though, for maybe you want to be approved for a mortgage. A home. A home is a huge deal. It really is. I know we talk about it a lot, but I love talking about it because it's a big deal. We have these people all the time. The members in our clients post them in front of their house and their family or their husband, their wife. The sold sign. Imagine what they're going through. They are just so happy. They're so excited. Doors have opened up. I love seeing those because I just know what they're going through at that moment. And to me, that's just so powerful.
I love this story. Just the other day, yesterday or the day before, Brian went on to one of the group, talk about someone's new testimonial, and then unsolicited, they just share in a photo of them right in front of the new home.
And her husband.
They're so proud. They're so happy. They're able to provide
home too, by the way.
Right. So, these are the things that I think that people need to be reminded and understand the impact, the possibilities there. And I'm sure, I don't know Tina's situation, but I can assure you she maybe did not have a collection experience, but nonetheless, I guarantee she shared the similar emotional experience, probably some of the same physical. But the thing is, she is someone that is hopefully become an inspiration for many. Is that you understand it's possible?
Yes.
And there is a various version of how to go at the end of that rainbow, and you have to keep going and keep chasing and keep doing it and not give up.
Yep.
And so today, if you're getting hitting up by the collections agency, the bombardment of letters, the frustration and the anger that maybe you're feeling, and just depression. You don't even know how to get off your couch to get to work with excitement and whatnot. You guys, I just want to, at least from my point, and I think I can speak for all three of us, is we really want to encourage you to know that it's not permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be terminal. You have options. And so, if you're on the track that you're doing it for yourself, great, keep going, keep looking for solutions.
Yep.
But if you feel like you're in a position that you can really just need someone to help you, reach out to Jared and his team. They can definitely help you with that. But otherwise, stay in tune, stay on top of this podcast. Hopefully we're shining different lights and conversation and ideas to you guys. And along the way, you're going to find things and then comment back, ask questions, and ask us and let us know how we can help you better in topics that's really relevant and important to you.
Well, that's what I love about what we're doing with this podcast, what we've been doing with our social media groups is the group is going to provide, one, the peer-to-peer help, right? The empowerment, the motivation, accountability. Everyone's there helping each other. Credilife's in there. Our coaches are in there. Everyone's in there to help that. But then also it provides like the technical aspects. If you want to go through, like we have the video course, Taking Back Your Buying Power, you go through the educational video course, you download the template letters, the technical pieces of this process, we provide that, you know what I mean? And then this podcast, though, is going to start bringing out other topics to get your mind right. Start looking at it in a different way, because if you do that, you're going to be more apt to start making the changes necessary to take action. And that's what we want. We want people to take action. It's not this simple cut, black and white situation. There's a lot around it. Let's surface. Let's see what those things are. And then based on that, we'll be able to help you guys move forward. So thanks, guys. I love it.